brother and sister. DMT is like the great grandfather. It's like completely different. I mean, like it's the only time I've seen like it's not like hallucinating. It's like dreaming. So unlike LSD or shrooms, where you might see stuff like you know, mild hallucinations, things move and pulsate and breathe. Unless you're on really heavy doses, like the 30 hits incident, where then you just straight up see weird things like that. But even that was different though. Like with DMT, it's like lucid dreaming. It's like once you get a good hit, it's like when you close your eyes, it's like a different world. It just unfolds in front of you. It usually starts with kaleidoscope tunnels. A lot of people see aliens and stuff like that. I've seen aliens or entities, I call them. I don't
I
know.
wonder how much you believe they are maybe real on a fine matter level.
It's hard
Were
to
they
say.
sharp, kind of?
Oh yeah, they're very sharp. They're very realistic. It's just like a dream. It's just as real as a dream. So how you dream. It's hard to tell the difference between it's real or not. It's just the same as you're basically dreaming. But it's so vivid that you don't realize you're dreaming. It's strange. I do I believe they're entities or aliens? Not really. I think they're projections and manifestations of your subconscious. I think they're archetypes. Some people believe that it opens your mind to different dimensions and realities. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible, but I don't. I think it's all within your brain. I think it's just stuff, memories, and archetypes. And
But then I wonder, with all of this psychedelic drug stuff, when people have those visions, what weird stuff do they have in their subconscious? We don't identify with that stuff.
well, it's hard to say. And one interesting thing is like I'm not a spiritual person, and I've been studying, the dark arts for quite some time. So my spirituality, if you even want to call it that, leans not towards peace and harmony and angels in the clouds. Mine leans a lot towards more like H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu mythologies, towards the unknown, towards the abyss, just darker aspects. I've always been interested in that. So my trips take on a darker aspect, right? Whereas other people's trips who believe in God and heaven and stuff usually have to do with like finding God or talking to like this motherly, woman and aliens, and then you sip Earl Grey tea, and fly around Saturn. Not me, man. My shit's straight up fucking brutal, man. Like shit out of like Aliens, the movie, and like I saw Predator once. Like he was watching me and shit, following me around. Like it's a little dark, man. It wasn't scary, but it's different. So that's what makes me think it's in your head.
Could be because I guess I'm more the third type that has just weird, silly stuff. Like the meme world. Uh,
So you've tried DMT, huh?
mm-mm.
Okay, you got to figure out a way to try it, man. I know if
Or
you.
I'm on the balance of this heaven and dark stuff. I've tried the LSA seeds, Hawaiian baby wood rose, and I didn't see anything, but I felt very different.
I've
It
never, I've
was
never, I've
dark
never
and
tried
light.
that.
It was intense.
Yeah, I've never tried those. I've heard about them. They're not very popular out here. Well, they're not very common, I should say. Yeah, don't even like DMT is like completely different. It's not even in the same ballpark as LSD and mushrooms. So,
I'm looking for something that makes me happy for a longer time, like even
oh,
after I took it.
okay, great. Then, yeah, DMT is not the way to go. That's for instant, really high up and then really down. But
But is
something what you're looking
LSD,
for, LSD microdosing, taking very small amounts of LSD like every other day. I do that. That's if you're looking for something to yeah that you can take every day or very often and then still function, still drive, still work. Yeah, you microdose on LSD. That's what I mean. That's
well, how does it make you happier?
uh, microdose on LSD. What I found is it makes everything a little bit more interesting. I'm not as bored. Like it's not enough where you hallucinate really, but the colors are a little bit brighter and it changes my mood. Like if I'm in a bad mood, I wake up and I don't want to go to work or it makes my mood elevated. It elevates your mood so you're a little bit happier. Even if it's just one notch or two notches, that sometimes will like completely change the day. And it makes your job more interesting. I start looking at things. Most of us have the job that we do the same shit, right? Over and over the same shit, day to day to day. And you get bored. Well, when you're microdosing on LSD, all of a sudden the same shit that I do every day, now all of a sudden it is a little bit different. and it's a little bit more interesting, and it just makes my time go by a lot better and funner when doing stuff I don't enjoy or don't, I'm not passionate about, like work.
Would you guess that weed does the same for people that need something more mild?
I think so. But I do think that weed, well, I mean, I used to smoke weed a lot. I mean, I smoked for about 15 years and I stopped, but it became a crutch for me to where I was dependent on it, to where I was unhappy unless I was stoned. And then I had to break that cycle. But I do get, yeah, it can. With LSD though, if you take a small amount, it can be just as mild as weed if you take a small amount.
But what would you guess is easier to still function with?
For me, LSD. But I'm a pussy with weed. Weed is way too strong. Weed is no longer fun and happy and mellow. And no, weed gives me anxiety attacks and makes me paranoid. So for me, I'd rather take a hit of LSD, a whole hit of LSD, than take one dab hit
But
any day.
have you tried taking less and less?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I tried, man. I tried for a couple months. I was just like, I get the most mild weed. It was called out here. It's called Blue Dream. It's like the most mild of the mild weed. It's not very strong, right? I'd only take one or two hits, man. And even then, though, it was just like I'd be stoned for like 3 hours, and I would just like, I gotta Google by myself, and then I like get anxiety, and then I would just like, what am I doing with my life? And I start beating myself up and stuff, and it's no
If you,
longer
if you
fun.
take even a smaller piece, like if you would just have this much weed and you know it has to last for a month or so.
I tried that for 2 months. I tried taking one hit, just one hit at a time, for like 2 months. I can never get past it. But what this Blunt 420 said, microdosing shrooms, LSD is the same effects. Blunts 420. That's what that helped me get off alcohol. It took my craving away to drink. I mean, because you don't really have the desire to drink when you have the LSD or the shrooms in you. Weed is a, I don't know. I mean, I love weed. I support everybody's right to smoke weed. I do, and I wish I could, but and it could be because I've done so many other drugs, right? That now the weed just has a different effect on my brain because it changed my chemistry. Maybe all the LSD and all the other drugs I've done, and maybe the weed just doesn't jive anymore.
So this live stream will be not on your channel, right?
I'm debating on with if I should. What I'm probably going to do is edit it and edit the first half out before you got on here with me trying to fucking get somebody to come on camera. But no, I can delete it because since I didn't ask for permission to
No, I
post it.
don't mean because of me, but because of what we are talking too little about mint tea. No.
I believe that we're allowed to talk about the use of psychedelics, since I do believe in some places it is legal. I don't think that's a problem since since none of us are doing anything illegal on camera. I think we're okay. I think so.
Oh,
Pretty
but
sure.
yeah, that video, that's why you took the mint tea there.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, because I would just, yeah. Obviously, you can't do real drugs on camera because, well, apparently you can. I've seen YouTube videos, but it's a fine line. So that's why I just use the decaffeinated mint tea instead of DMT to simulate the experience.
So then you believe you saw those beings and they all came out of your head, out of your. You don't even believe in a soul, but from your subconscious and your brain. Very atheistic, mechanical worldview type.
Not exactly. I don't really consider myself an atheist. An atheist, I think, is absolutely certain there is no God. I believe that it's possible that there are forces that we don't understand. I just don't believe in deities. I don't believe in gods and devils. I believe that there's possibly something greater that we don't have an understanding of, but I don't think it's heaven, hell, and I don't think it gives a shit about us either
But
way.
isn't
So
the biggest question, like the basic biggest question of human life, what was before our lives and what comes after? So do you think you will exist after you die?
I don't believe I will exist as me in a conscious form. I don't believe in reincarnation in that sense. I don't believe in an afterlife. I do believe that we are energetic beings, and that when we die, our energy, our bioelectrical energy goes out and back into the one, which is life, and then gets redistributed as other life. But I think you and me, as we know each other, I think that's gone.
And is that bad? I mean, what do we consist of? But the worries that this life brings upon us?
Is it bad? I don't know. We'd have to define what your definition of bad is, because I don't think it's bad. I think it's just the way the world works. I think I don't think it's wrong or right. I think it's indifferent, and I think it's just the way that the things move before us.
I don't want to die.
No, I don't either.
But then it's bad. We don't want to die, so we want to live. And then can we say that we do live if our energy gets recycled? Like I feel I don't know what has been before my life, but I must come from somewhere. I have a character that isn't just my life experience and my parents' DNA. And so I'm quite happy with this if it's like that.
So
I will be around. I will stick on some planet or here or wherever.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, because that is a nice thought, to think that even when we die, that we will be reborn as something else, our soul, if you want to call it that. I hope you're right. I just don't believe that I think it's wishful thinking. I think that because you want it. I could be wrong though, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right, and I guess we'll
And
find out.
you know, this leads me to why I'm so interested in Satanism when one gets first into it, because celebrate this life. Because to me, okay, so that's left? I will see when I die what comes then, and now just what can I do with this life?
Unfortunately, a lot of what can we do with this life? We can try to derive as much pleasure as we can, and I don't know, maybe if you're hopefully you're a good person, and I don't know about you, but it makes me happy to be able to make other people happy too. So if I can, that's part of what makes me happy, is knowing that what I've done or said has a good a positive influence on somebody else. So maybe that's kind of passing, and even in that way you can live through somebody else, through their memories. Honestly, man, I don't know. And that's the best thing, is people, that's why I don't say I'm an atheist. I don't know for a fact that there is a God or is not, but I can tell you this: it's okay to say you don't know. It's okay to say I don't really know where I came from, and I don't know what our purpose is. I mean, I don't. We're stupid monkeys, man. We've only been out of the jungle for like 100,000 years or something. I mean, we're not. Maybe we were creation of aliens, man. Maybe we're in aliens ant farms. And they're just watching us and experimenting and seeing if they seeded a bunch of chimps, and now here we are. 50,000 years later, half alien, half chimp. Probably not. Who knows? Who cares? But it's fun to speculate. But at the end of the day, it's all about living life. Enjoy yourself. Be a good person. That's what best you can do.
Then of course, if we experience an internal growth and we get more powerful, if we are nice to other people, that's that. And some people might say they experience growing or getting more stronger by suppressing other people. How is that? I mean, just that's great. So if you feel like you grow and you get more powerful in this good way, I wish everybody was like that. And it's where does the bad come from? I do blame God. That's the cliched part of the Satanism. Like I believe in a source, because where else, just logically, where should everything come from? So there had to be something that caused the Big Bang, and this
Sure.
thing, I guess, it's eternal because Big Bang created time. So
But it's the same thing if you say that something had to have created the Big Bang. Okay, well, I agree. The Big Bang didn't just come from two atoms colliding, because where those atoms come from? What set them in motion? But okay, we can. But if you're okay with that logic, which I agree with, well, whoever made that, set the Big Bang, where did that person come from, or that force come from? So there's no way we're going to understand this.
no,
It's
it was
far,
eternal.
far.
It
It's
created
eternal.
time. It's
So
the
so does the
beginning
Big
of
Bang.
everything.
Right. So
So
is the Big Bang, because that's the first thing that we know of, right? But The thing is there's no way we're gonna know, man. There's no way there's no way anybody can know. I mean, shit, we just created electricity a few hundred years ago. We just put somebody into outer space, what, 60 years ago, something like that. So, like, why are we expected to know the mysteries of life's universe? There's no way we're going to understand this in our lifetime, or probably even in the whole existence of the human race.
Then the question just, how do we live? And I find if we think of what seems the most logical to us, then we can hold on to that until we change it again if we find it's no longer the smartest thing to think. And I grew a little bit on that thing. I met some people. That's why I have Zoom. I had a YouTube video with them too. And they kind of believe, well, first of all, they always say everybody who has this type of consciousness has their own reality. And I guess they basically believe that, or let's say my version of that is we become like God that created us, and even more powerful in a way where we are no longer bound to anything. Like we have all the power we want. We can exist, we cannot exist, we can change the past, we can create our own universe and everything. And if that's true, then you can again have something that goes from A to B and keeps growing. Like God, this universe here is also such a thing, and then we become that as well. And that's how it's always like a firework that explodes, and then the particles explode again. And we are now on our path there. It's constant growth, because if you're just this eternal thing, this absolute source, then what else would you want to do but experience new stuff all the time and grow even more and expand more? There's nothing else to do,
But
you
but
know?
but can't you see though that, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, these are all speculations. These are all theories that you're having, right? And I'm not disagreeing with you, and they're all comforting theories. They're all comforting ways of thought. All I'm doing is giving you the possibility that it's not, which is quite a possibility too. I mean, can you be okay with the fact that what you're saying though? There's no way that you know that for a fact. You can feel that and you can hope that, but there's no way you know that. And that's all I'm saying is I don't know. I think the smartest people in the world don't know, because we don't know. I mean, I hope you're right. I do, because of course I don't want to die. I don't want my life to just end and that's it. But that's very possible that that's true too.
I don't care so much about the question of truth just for itself, but how do we want to live? What do we want to do, and what beliefs serve us in our practical life? Is that called pragmatic or something? Or
I believe so. I believe a pragmatist would be somebody who's basically focuses on the here and now and what is tangible, what is real, what is practical, and can be applied towards the everyday life. I believe that's a close definition to that.
but
But
then still those great philosophic or whatever thoughts, people would say this doesn't match, but I find I'm pragmatic then in this whole spiritual, whatever, religious or whatever stuff, esoteric belief.
good, good. You know what? And the smartest thing is, to always keep growing. The moment that you settle, the moment that you settle and say, I know this is how it is. I know Jesus exists. I know Jesus doesn't exist. I know this is a fact. I know this is not a fact. The moment you settle for that is the moment you resign. That's the moment you stop growing. You need to keep your mind open. You keep your mind open to everything. You may hope, and what you hope and feel. You have to divorce yourself from the subjective, because the subjective is, the way you perceive reality. The way you perceive reality is not necessarily reality. That's your reality, but that does not make it true. And it's important to keep your mind open. Otherwise, you'll stop growing. And that's when you get old. People that keep their mind open are the people that continue searching and continue looking. And the left-hand path, would be the people that look for those answers from within, do soul searching instead of trying to answer and define everything as an external thing, like, oh, well, it's God, whatever they can't explain, it's God did this, or we're going to try to find a path to God. Well, aren't you? Maybe you are your own God. Maybe you can find that within yourself. Maybe your development is rooted within you. Maybe everything you need to know and everything that's always will be and always will come is in you and not
That
up there.
sounds so not I guess, right hand path, but so lightful to me, and God stuff like Jesus said, find God within you, the love in your heart, this Allah guy. I showed you before, I told you multiple times. Yeah, he says that. Look for it in the truth, in your heart, God.
Well, you know, it's the concept. I want to answer a Trace question real quick. Person's asking, do you mean we have to divorce from the ego? Not necessarily, man. The ego is what roots us in reality. The ego is, you know, what makes you you and what makes, you know, me. And without, I don't believe we have to, but I don't believe, I believe that if you completely separate yourself from your environment, that you're missing out on a lot of things. Because I don't think we are detached. I think we were born connected to a reality. I mean, you think of how much different children's and animals perceive reality as opposed to adult humans. Something happens that we detach ourselves when we become specifically about the ego, or to an extent to where our perception of reality is based solely upon our ego. And I think children don't have that because until they start to develop an ego, I don't think they really, I think they feel one with the universe. And not to get too hippie or mystical, but we lose touch of what that is around us. And I think that's just a cultural thing. I blame religion for a lot of that too.
It's like a child. When we say, yeah, you're so good or whatever, and the child feels spoken to and seen, that is the same with our ego. When we say, it's maybe not right, and we like narcissists or whatever, like feeling always in a fight with their life, their surrounding, their people. That's what we call ego then, but that's like a shell of an ego or something. When we feel loved enough or seen enough, connected enough, then that's the real ego that can grow and can be always fresh, nice.
Well, people often, when the word ego is mentioned, people often attach that to the negative, to something that's a negative thing, and it's not. I mean, the ego is not. I mean, the ego is what is self-preservation. The ego is what keeps us actually alive. Self-preservation is part of the ego, and that is the highest law. Ego can be a great thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking pride in yourself. There's nothing wrong with making you the center of the universe, because after all, you really are at the end of the day. I mean, you can love other people, you can, but at the end of the day, who do you love more than yourself? I mean, I know people, and will say, "Oh, I love my child more than myself," or "I love my lover more than myself." At the end of the day, though, one if you're gone, then that's it. I mean, so a healthy ego is a good thing as long as it's it's doesn't completely abstract your judgment out of reality.
It's not a good either. The child, if the dad lives through the child, then it's not a good dad because it's not authentic.
It's hard to say. I'm reading in the comments here to try to get people to keep them interactive here. Let's see. Looks like you've been looking. Oh no, Trace, I'm still on the cigs. I'm just I don't smoke inside. But no, it's Rich 2050. Never heard of that guy. I'll check him out. I'll go back and look at this. Yeah, yeah. I mean, all that stuff's fascinating. Now we're getting into philosophy and even psychoanalysis and psychology, but it's all good. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, what do you really want? What really makes you happy? What really makes you happy is fulfillment of your desires, and those desires are usually based on rudimental pleasures, you know, um, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, to make someone happy on that level. Now, if we're talking on a spiritual level or level higher than that, I think you can only really get indulgence or fulfillment, not indulgence, but fulfillment from indulging or from fulfilling those spiritual elements once your base elements are actually fulfilled. Once you take care of your base elements, then I think maybe you're in a position to actually really love others, actually really, try to love outside of yourself. But not until you're fulfilled as a person can you really expect to be in a position to really help other people, I think.
Until then, I guess we are doomed to call it love when we like the people that help us fulfill our basic needs, like safety.
Love is a many splintered thing. I mean, if you think about it, if you say, I love that other person, do you really love that other person? Do you really love your mate for who that person is? Or do you love that person for how they make you feel? Now, if you love them for how they make you feel, that's back to you. That's back to the ego. So are you really loving that person, or are you loving how they make you feel?
I actually agreed with my girlfriend that we don't really love each other because we don't take each other as ourselves. So to me, she is not me. She has her own opinions and views, but I have a romantic love, I call it then, where I'm very fascinated about her.
It's a, that is a tricky question that I think most people will never really understand in their entire life. I don't pretend that I understand it. I'm just speculating as myself.
You and your woman, do you say you love each other?
Uh, well, yeah, yeah.
But doesn't that mean taking the other person as yourself?
It does mean being able to put yourself aside and your own needs aside for theirs. I mean, I'm not trying to reduce this down to an animalistic primal, grunts by any means. I mean, I do believe there's something more, in a sense of love and a sense of companionship. I'm just saying that I think people have a tendency to mystify or project when a lot of what we say love is, I love you, is a lot of people, I think, don't. I think they're really saying, I love the way you make me feel. I love the way I feel when I'm with you. Which then again, it comes back to you. I mean, do you really love that person? I mean, do you really see that person as a separate person, or do you see them as an extension of you, as another mechanical thing, to a lever to pull when you're thirsty to fill, whether it's attention, whether it's sex, whatever it is,
I think there's nothing wrong with that if that person then has needs and one still takes those needs as fulfilling those needs as fulfilling your own needs. It's not taking yourself back for the other person, but then when you do take yourself back for fulfilling the other person's needs, it feels like fulfilling your own needs as well. So it's a balance then of fulfilling both of your needs. It's not I suffer for you and that's the love. No.
You guys realize if you keep me on this conversation, I'm going to talk myself so deep into a hole, I'm going to only be able to get prostitutes for the rest of my life, right? That was a joke, but yes. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, love is such a. What do you think? Well, let's compare human love to, say, a dog's love or a cat's love. Did you think a cat or a dog loves its companion, or do you think a cat or a dog even loves you?
I just think humans, they want to be smarter, they want to be better, so whatever. We're the most brutal animal, but we should be better than that. Less brutal than animals.
But don't you believe that we're still animals?
If we are animals,
Yeah. Do you believe that we are still animals after all? I mean, do you believe that we are guided by the same rules and regulations and desires and principles as our so-called lower animals?
I would say we're animals plus we have this thing added to it.
Well, what would that thing be?
The mind, in this extreme form where we can rationalize ourselves away from our heart and our root basic stuff. Like nerdy people with glasses that live in whatever PC, magic cards stuff. That stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Cultural concepts.
Okay. We have complexity. We have complexity of a consciousness that animals lack. I got a quote for you. Now, I'll try to quote this at the top of my head. Wise man once said, man is just another animal, sometimes better, more oftentimes worse than all those on all fours. Because of his divine spiritual and intellectual makeup, he's become the most vicious animal of all. You know who said that?
I don't care.
I mean, do you agree with that, though? Actually, I should say.
The spiritual makeup. What a word, what a term.
I'll say it slower. Man is just another animal, sometimes
No,
better.
I got it, but
Okay.
that's that part.
His divine spiritual and intellectual makeup. So basically, because we feel ourselves to be more spiritual development, right? Because we have spirituality, whereas other animals don't, right? Our divine spiritual, and same with the intellectual, because we feel ourselves to be mentally superior, smarter, because of this
intellectual
development.
is okay, but spiritual, what? Why should humans be more spiritual than animals?
I think it's used in the context of like churches and religions as a form of spirituality. Why we don't see animals being spiritual? We don't see them praying, or we don't see them doing what humans do that we would consider spiritual, do we? Like, do we?
But that spirituality, we find it's crap. So then that means because humans have more crap.
I mean, this is I'm not saying this is fact. I'm just saying this is speculation. It's maybe I personally think that animals actually are more spiritual than people, because I think they're in touch. They never became out of touch with their roots, where they came from and what's around them. I think that they are born correct, just as children. I think the children are born perfectly. I believe that they are born with all the right tools, and they're born connected to everything around them, and then we disassociate them and detach them with concepts of sin, with concepts of right and wrong. Or I think they're born with natural concepts of right and wrong. I think a child knows, if you do this and this hurts somebody else, you wouldn't do that again, because you wouldn't want that done to you. A child will have to learn that one way. But I don't think people are born with murderous instincts. I don't think people are born with the desire to rape and to hurt and to dominate other people the way that they come out as adults. I think we twist them to be perverted like that, and that's where we get divorced from our roots.
So let's think of a place where broken cars get put into to get repaired, and that's our intellect. We have it now here, and it needs to function. We must fix it. That's our burden. Why we have it in the room, and other beings don't have as much of a broken something there. It doesn't work right and work for the benefit of everything.
That's a strange analogy. I'm not sure we can compare the human psyche and the human mind, or the human heart or emotions or whatever, to that of a car, since a car is a mechanical thing. I mean, I see what you're saying. I just it's hard for me to attach the same concepts to a mechanical thing.
It's not perfect, but I can't think of something better.
That's all right.
It's just it's hanging around and it's taking up space.
Don't you think though? Like, you're younger than me. Maybe your memory can stretch back farther than mine. But don't you remember at one time when you were a child, when things were magical, when every day was a new day, when you looked forward to every day was a new adventure, and then something happens. Something happens where every day becomes a struggle. Every day becomes filled with more worries and more pressure,
Yes,
more
sure.
anxieties. At one time, though, it wasn't like that. At one time, you could have an imagination. You could build a whole fortress, a whole castle where you were the king, and you could, with nothing but pillows, and you could play, and you were happy as could be, just in that realm. And somehow we lost that. Most of us have lost that as we get older, and it's going to be interesting to see why people think that is, and if that's even repairable. Because what a magical world this would be if we could retain that type of literal magic that we did when we were children, and bring that into our adult life. People do, and we call them like geniuses, or we call them people that are extraordinary. But maybe we're all supposed to be like that.
Now we can do what we couldn't as children. We can spend money for
Money.
stuff, and if
Absolutely.
we just need a little money and still can buy things that make us very happy, that's really good. That's quite what you were talking about. Keeping some of that, or now I can make my room pretty or something.
Yeah, we are told that we'll be happier. The bigger house we buy, the more money we make, the faster car we have. We're told, the better computer, whatever it is, right? The bigger gold watch, whatever it is.
If
We're
that
told.
was a child, I would. The word retarded is a little harsh, but I would call that child is not so like a cool child. Cool child would be like, no, I just want this, but in that style. I don't know, like that. And then it's just cheap, but it's from the heart.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does the acquisition of wealth, does that really make you happier? I mean, more than just immediately. I mean, and I know it makes me happy to be able to walk into a bar and drop $100 and buy whatever I want and buy the guy next to me a drink. Yeah, that makes me happy until I leave the bar, and then I'm like, I mean, does it really make you happier to have a faster and bigger car? Sure. I mean, yeah, I love driving a nicer car than I had 10 years ago, right? But am I really happy? Does that object make me happy? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing materialism, because at a certain level, I mean, that really does work, and that does people, you earn that. You should be able to do that, and it does, set people apart, the people who've worked harder and are more successful. But I don't know. I don't really think that's the way to fulfill people's happiness and hearts. I don't think is through the material.
I guess I'm making so many people find me not so cool because I find it dumb how they, even you, when you still work, just focus more on not working and saving money and not spending the $100 at the bar and getting something cheaper. Okay, you want the company at the bar, but yeah, like that.
Well, I mean, somebody also said it's easy to be humble when you ain't got shit to lose, right? I mean, I only in the last 6 months have been able to um, be financially liberated enough to where I don't really have to work hard. I don't live paycheck to paycheck anymore. So I mean, I still work, but I choose to work part time so that I have an excess amount of time to um, to do what I like, to do what makes me happy, to do new projects, to use my imagination and creativity to do stuff like this podcast, anything like that. I mean, if I had to go to work in the morning, I wouldn't be here right now, but I don't, and it's just, but I don't know. I personally have adjusted my living status, like, my spending expenses and what I want. I don't need a fucking Porsche. Maybe I could afford one, but I don't need one. Right. I'm okay with driving my older car, because now if I had that Porsche, I'd have to work to pay off those payments. Right. And I don't know. I balance my time, and my time is worth more than my money, put it that way. And if I do nothing with my time, that's fine. If I do something with my time, that's great. But for me, if I have enough money to get by on what I've been getting by with, and I'm so used to, I'm fine with that. Knowing that I don't
That's
have to do that is important to me.
that's something stars would say, right? My time is worth more than what? Than
Money. I don't know.
yeah,
But yeah,
whatever.
I don't know. I mean, but everybody's different. My father, he works his finger to the bone. He works 60 hours a week his entire life. He's still alive and he still works. He could retire right now, but he won't, and he'll just work and work, because that's, to him, making that paycheck, and having more numbers and stuff like that is satisfaction to him, because when he has free time, he doesn't know what to do with it, and he's unhappy. When I have free time, I don't, even if I'm not doing anything, I'm fucking happier, because I like to have that option not to have to do anything. And I'll give up a fucking brand new fucking Porsche, to drive a decent car or whatever, just so I don't have to fucking worry about how I'm going to make that payment. I own everything I have, and, I don't have any bills really. So that's my trade-off. But that's just me though. Other people are different. It's cool. It's just, makes you, once you're in a position to where you can do that, it makes you kind of reevaluate what's important too. And then you kind of realize that, I mean, like, think about this. Like, think about, you see all these musicians and famous actors or whatever, people with money that are millionaires, right? They have enough money to do whatever they want, and yet they still fucking kill themselves. People that don't have any money are thinking like, fuck, how would they kill themselves? Because if I had $20 million and I could, travel and do whatever the fuck I wanted to and didn't have to work. I could buy all the women, all the drugs, all the houses, all the cars I ever wanted, and I'm fucking famous and everybody loves me. How could you still want to kill yourself? And that's where it comes down to, like, well, apparently that didn't work, right? Apparently that wasn't enough. So maybe that's not really where fulfillment comes from. Oh, wow. It's interesting
But
to
they,
note, though. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you mean killing themselves? You mean working?
No, literally killing themselves, suicide. You know,
Oh,
really, literally killing themselves. But they have everything you could ever want. They got the fame, the money, you know, all the women, all the
they must have
drugs.
lost their. Were they really making the money with their creativity from their heart?
I don't know, man. You know, it's hard to say.
Maybe
It's hard
they're
to say.
so unhappy that people love their what's shit to them. Like, oh, I just do this, and then they all love it, and now what I'm here for. What am I?
I think what happens is, I think they believed at one time, before they're rich and famous, I think they believe that, oh, all my problems will go away, you know, because they're depressed and they think, oh, if I could only make it, if I could only be a fucking rock star, I could only be rich and famous, right? I could only be everybody would love me and I would have everything I ever wanted. And then when they actually get that, they are the rock star. They have all the women, they have all the power, they have all the money, and yet they're still unhappy. And I think that's when they give up and they're like, fuck, I'm never going to be happy. I have everything anybody would ever want in this life. And I'm still fucking a piece of shit. I still hate myself. And like Kurt Cobain style.
But hookers don't give you the love that a real partner does.
I don't know. Maybe you haven't had the same type of hooker I have. No, I'm joking. But no, I mean, yeah. No, but I mean, I'm sure that these people have had, you know, lovers that love them. Who knows, man? You know, I don't know the intimate parts of their life, but like what the Blunt said too, about the same time. Kurt Cobain's a perfect example. He had everything he ever wanted, and it wasn't enough. He was still fucking miserable, and that's just because I think we place value in the wrong things to make us happy. Who's to say though? You know.
I've heard Elvis killed himself or uh, died. I don't really know how he died. Like from not feeling like he could do his job right, satisfy all the people, and then he left his family.
It's hard to say. I mean, Elvis. I think Elvis. Who knows, man? Now we're going way back. That's even before my time, Elvis. I mean, it's about the time when I was born. But yeah, um, yeah. I mean, it just shows you the human needs. I think basically what I'm trying to say is, we put value in things to make us happy and to fulfill our desire, to fulfill the need to exist, and that can't give us those things. And I think, you know, I think that's proof that people with everything, what we imagine would make us happy. You see other people who have all that and they still kill themselves, literally.
You said I still hate myself, but so what makes one hate oneself? So we have a need to be a good boy or something, be a decent person, and then we need to feel like what we're doing makes us that. Um, do you think it's maybe playing a smaller role than I think?
Not sure, man. I'm not sure, but I'm going to answer BB. BB is a new person in the chat. What's up, BB? I'll try to answer BB's question here, and you can too. Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss. Do you think there are parallel universes? That's hard to say. I know that's speculative. I mean, it seems that it's possible that our universe is layered, but do we exist in that other universe or that other parallel universe? I don't know, man. That's so far like theoretical. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting theory, but honestly, once again, I don't think our minds have the ability to quite comprehend what that is and what that means and where our place in it is. I think if we focus more on the here and now, what we do comprehend, what we're doing right now, what's around us, I think that's much more likely to make us happy than speculating on stuff like parallel universes and afterlife. I mean, it's interesting, but I don't see really the reason to go that far out and stretch just because there's no way we're ever going to know.
we don't know about parallel universes. We can't know because a part of our soul is incarnated elsewhere on another planet. So now I appeased your mind. I love appeasing minds because I had to learn it for myself, and now I'm the master of that.
Well, believing in things, that faith is a very powerful thing, and faith is what keeps a lot of miserable people going. Faith, the faith in something greater than their existence, something outside waiting for them that will make everything better. That's faith. That's how religion got started. The belief in you just believe in Jesus, and you believe that when you die, you will have an everlasting life of love and happiness in the arms of God and Jesus. If you do these things, if you
Aren't you
only
sure?
believe.
Are you sure? Isn't it more like what got religion started was the fear of hell?
Um, that's what kept religion going, I think, is the fear of hell. I don't know if that's what started it, but that's what definitely kept it going. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had. It's kept him in business all these years. Another wise man said that, because it has. It's kept the churches going, keeps people in line, keeps people coming back. The fear of damnation, the fear of punishment.
I'm not against religion if it's all positive, then people can fall on their faces and see, okay, it wasn't so true, I guess.
Hmm.
Or they see, oh, it works for me. Yeah, I accomplished all those things in my life with my faith. That's cool.
Oh yeah, what's interesting that people don't believe, like everybody believes, because again, we're so selfish and self-centered and egotistical. Everybody, like, we'll take Christianity for example. And we could use the Muslims, we could use the Jews, we use it, but we'll just take Christianity as an example, being the dominant religion in at least Western society and probably in Germany as well.
Oh,
Um,
you're not really Christian? Ah, then you're less than me. I won't say it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people who are Christian, they're absolutely convinced and positive that Jesus is the one and only God, that their faith is the only one. Although it may seem like in America that it's the majority of Americans are Christian, which is probably true, but they don't realize if we're doing a numbers game, Christianity is not the dominant religion. It's like, I think it's a Buddhism or Hinduism. It's one of those two. But either way, it's like, why don't they realize that, okay, Christianity is relatively new, been around for a couple thousand years. Um, well, according to the historical time length of religion, Christianity is relatively new, and all the gods, devils, and religions before Christianity have all fizzled and died away, just as Christianity will. Just as Christianity will. Probably not in my lifetime or your lifetime, but I think it will. Maybe it'll take another couple thousand years, but something else will come along. Something will come along and replace Christianity, just as something has come along and replaced the 1,000 gods before Christianity. Jesus is no different. He was just a man-made construct to keep people in line at a certain time frame. And once that time frame is moved past and there's no longer a need, Jesus will break as a concept, as an archetype, and we'll move on, and there'll be another one in his place. Hopefully something better, but who knows? Could be worse.
Or it stops finally.
You would hope,
I
right?
pray for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Anybody got any questions? I'm going to end this because it's going on 84 minutes. Thank you again though, Hugo Boss, for jumping in and showing that it can be done. Now I got to set it up better so that people have the link and can do this,
I think you
because
can put the link in the video description.
as I did, that's how you got it, right? I broke the link and you put it together, or did you
I
go to
mean,
Facebook?
you can put it in the video description once you uploaded this thing.
Oh, that's a possibility I didn't think of putting it in the video description. That is a good idea.
So link down below.
Yes, in the video. Oh, I'm sorry to smoke that. No, not right now. Habit. I almost hit that. I actually did hit it a little bit. I tasted it. I was like, yeah. That is the way to go. Yep. Because yeah. And hopefully we won't get uh bargated by trolls, which if trolls have that link, I can kind of stop them, but probably not fast enough before they get on camera.
And check out my comment on this video with the Discord server of Sin.
Yes. Is that still going, man?
Not really, but it's still there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I would love to go there, man. I've actually jumped in there, and I need to figure out Discord, man. Cause I go in there and I see like old comments. Okay. What are you pointing at here? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the YouTube, which is lagging by like 10 seconds. Okay. I'll check it out once I stop this. And yeah, man, the Discord, if you guys use Discord, then I guess we can all talk. I don't fucking understand Discord, man. I'm too old for that shit. I just mastered Tiny Chat.
And what messenger do you use for your phone?
I use Facebook Messenger, and I use Snapchat, and I use I guess that's a messenger, isn't it? Yeah. That's it.
I'm too old for Snapchat and Instagram.
Are you? Is that
I don't have it, but I don't even have a phone.
Oh, well, shit. Yeah. The phone apps change everything, since 80% of the people like use the phone for their main source of internet. I mean,
I prefer a good PC and a television screen as my screen. And then I can stay here all the time and have people on the internet tell me how lazy I am and that I should get a job. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoy PC better too, but it is nice to be able to stream on my phone. It is nice to do stuff, and you know, when you forget about the phone, to put it this way, 10 years ago, nobody thought that the phone, the majority of people would be looking at their handheld phone device, you know, as opposed to their PC. No way, right? I mean, phones are inferior, but now it's like, well, apparently everybody wants to look at their phones, so.
Oh, now you have a pad that's a little bigger than your phone screen.
Something like that, man. Something like
And
that.
you can have such a screen. Like this.
You know, we do have a chat back on Sin though. It's not Tiny Chat, but it's somebody made a clone of Tiny Chat. It's like, fuck, I forget what it's called, but it's like it looks just like Tiny Chat, but it's not. It's like Tiny Chat was when they started, and it's I mean, it works fine. I mean, you don't have to register, which is nice. You don't have to, you know, you just click on the link and bam, it just drops you in the room. So that's kind of nice. And other people from other rooms can see your room and they can jump in too. So it's Tiny Chat like Tiny Chat was in 2012, basically, which I think is cool. But.
Let's just be international and on multiple programs and whatever, and just spread like a virus.
Yeah, we'll spread it all around. Cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop this chat because now it's 3:30 a.m. and I should actually probably start doing something productive. Not that this wasn't productive, and thank you again to Hugo Boss. Now I'm gonna set up some live streams in the future with the link in the video description so that people can use that, and we can have multiple guests in here. Allegedly, we'll have to figure that out as it goes. Cool. Thanks, man. I'll see you guys later.